Good morning, traders. Steve Gans here, and it is time now to roll our Ftnt wheel trade. So those of you that aren't familiar with the wheel or maybe weren't part of the community at the time that I started this wheel trade, I'm going to put a link down below, actually two links on the wheel trade, how the wheel trade works. And then, of course, you can go back in this circle. If you're part of my community, you can go back in this circle. You can see all the fundamental analysis that I did as to why I'm interested in potentially owning this stock long term. I go through the process that I use to understand and decide that this was, in fact, a long-term investment I was interested in. So once I decided that, the first step was back, I think it was about 40 days ago now, I sold two puts on Ftnt puts at 57.50. Now, if I go back in time and I take a look here at a chart, at the time I did this, this was trading around the $58 range. I don't remember the exact date, but it was somewhere right around, maybe it was right around in here when I did this. So the stock price has continued to bounce around, but it has remained well above my 57.50. Let me just slide this out of the way here. So basically, I am not going to get assigned on this month. That's fine. Part of the wheel process is I will roll this put over and over and over. Each time I do that, I pick up premium. So we can see that last time I did this, I'm picking up $1.68 or $168 or $169 now per contract. So that's $320 or so that I am picking up. That shows are actually $338 will be my profit in this. What that means, again, I'm looking at doing this, or I'm doing this on two contracts. So that means that I basically am picking up $1.69, $1.70 of lowering of my cost basis once I do finally get assigned this stock. So if this were to drop to 57.5, I get assigned, but my actual cost basis, because I took in this, I'm just going to round it to $1.50, my actual cost basis essentially is $56, not 57.5. So if there's something you've identified that you would like to potentially own, this is a way to lower your cost basis before you get into the stock. This is a less risky position than actually owning 200 shares of the stock by a little bit. And the reason it's slightly less risky is by entering it this way, again, I'm taking in premium, lowering my cost basis. So those of you that are not currently in a wheel, if you wanted to start a wheel, this would be an opportune time to do so. You would not have to have been in at the start of this if you hold a similar premise to what I have, in that, yes, Ftnt might be a stock you'd be interested in owning long term. Everybody needs to do, of course, their own analysis on that. And if you hold a similar opinion, take a look at the chart. Now, nothing has really changed about this pattern. We're still chopping back and forth in this general range. So my game plan right now is to just roll that same 57.5. If this had moved up considerably to maybe, 66, somewhere in there, maybe I'd be selling the 65 put instead. But I'm not. This hasn't moved significantly, so I'm going to go ahead and sell the same 57.5. Now, there is a little bit of a red flag here in that we can see that earnings are coming up on this. Earnings are coming up on August 8th, so that could move this significantly. I need to understand and recognize that. If I sell a 57.5 and earnings drop this thing to 56 and it stays there up to my next expiration, I could get assigned this stock. I have to recognize that, understand that, be okay with that, which I am. So based on that, I'm going to roll this out using the same strike of 57.5. So I'm going to buy these two back. I'm going to pay 6 cents for them. I'm going to come out. I'm going to sell new 57.5s, and I'm going out a month essentially. So going out to the next monthly expiration, I'm going to sell two. And then once I do that, let's just go ahead, see what that order looks like. 215, see if I can just get a quick fill on this. And then everybody can, yep, instant fill. So then I can see what my new P&L diagram looks like. So let me now open this. I like to view it in this other view just a little bit better. I think it's a little more intuitive, at least it is for me. So now I have 2 short contracts that expire August 18th. This is now my new P&L diagram. So if Ftnt stays above, now my break even is all the way down here at 53, but if it stays above 57.5, I'm essentially going to add another $300, $400 to the P&L in this trade. If that does in fact happen, then I will have lowered my cost basis. Once I do get assigned, I will have lowered my cost basis at that point by about $3.50 per share. So if we go below, let's say we just go to 57 and I get assigned at 57, I'm actually only paying, what would that be, 54 bucks essentially, because of the premium that I've taken in on this. So that's essentially how the whole wheel plays out and works. Again, going to share some links down below for people so that you can study up a little more on that whole process. I've got a detailed diagram that shows how the whole thing works. But the key to this is finding something that you fundamentally are okay owning and that you're committed to owning, and that you have the cash set aside to buy this if in fact you do get assigned. So those are kind of the caveats of doing the wheel trade. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up, and we won't deal with this now until next month around this time. So that's it on the wheel trade.